It's 6:47 in the morning. The kitchen is still dark, and a thin line of light bleeds through the blinds. You're walking barefoot across the cold tile, half awake, when you feel it. Something wet, something cold. You look down and find your cat's water bowl tipped over, a puddle spreading across the floor. Your eyes track to the counter. Your favorite mug, the one you've had for years, lies shattered on the ground. And there he is, sitting 3 feet away, watching you, not hiding, not cowering, just watching. Most people assume he knows what he did, that somewhere behind those golden eyes there's guilt, remorse, maybe even a little defiance, but that logic crumbles instantly. If he felt guilty, why isn't he hiding? If he knew it was wrong, why is he staring at you without a trace of shame? And why? Of all the things he could be doing right now, is he grooming his paw? What's really happening is one of the most profound demonstrations of cognitive architecture that exists between two species. And by the end of this video, I'll show you a behavioral shift that can reveal a serious neurological condition before any other symptom appears. Your cat's brain isn't a simplified version of yours. It's a different operating system entirely. The human brain evolved a massive prefrontal cortex, the region responsible for moral reasoning, self-reflection, and that uncomfortable feeling you get when you know you've done something wrong. Your prefrontal cortex allows you to project yourself into the past, evaluate your actions, and feel guilty about consequences you caused. Dr. John Bradshaw, anthrozoologist and founder of the Anthrozoology Institute at the University of Bristol, published extensive research on feline cognition in the Journal of Feline Medicine and Surgery. His findings are unequivocal. Cats are probably incapable of experiencing emotions such as guilt, pride, or grief, all of which require a sense of self and a concept of past, present, and future. Think about that. Not cats don't show guilt. Cats likely cannot experience guilt. The neural machinery simply isn't there. What this means in practice is that when your cat stares at you from beside the shattered mug, he isn't calculating whether you're angry. He isn't reviewing his actions from 5 minutes ago. He's responding to you, your body language, your tone, the tension in your shoulders. A 2020 study published in the journal Animals by researchers at the University of Lincoln confirmed that cats can recognize human emotional expressions, happiness, anger, fear, and modulate their behavior accordingly. But recognizing your emotion is not the same as understanding why you feel it. Your cat sees that you're upset. He doesn't connect it to the mug. He can't, but that's just the surface. What happens in his brain is even more extraordinary. To understand why guilt is neurologically impossible for your cat, you need to understand a structure, the limbic system. The limbic system is the ancient emotional core of the mammalian brain. It generates what we might call gut feelings: fear, anger, affection, anxiety. Both humans and cats possess a fully functional limbic system. This is why your cat can feel afraid, why he can feel content, why he can feel anxious when you pack a suitcase. But guilt isn't a gut feeling. Guilt is a processed emotion. It requires the prefrontal cortex to take raw feeling, connect it to a past action, evaluate that action against a moral framework, and assign responsibility to the self. Dr. Bradshaw explains in his book Cat Sense that while cats possess a limbic system common to all mammals, their prefrontal cortex is substantially less developed than in humans or even dogs. The cognitive architecture required for self-reflection, for thinking, "I did something wrong," simply doesn't exist in the feline brain. Here's the neurological sequence when you feel guilty. Your limbic system generates an uncomfortable feeling. Your prefrontal cortex retrieves the memory of your action. Your anterior cingulate cortex evaluates whether the action violated your personal standards, and your orbitofrontal cortex assigns emotional weight to that evaluation. The result? Guilt. Here's what happens in your cat. His limbic system generates a feeling, let's say mild anxiety, because you're standing over him with tension in your face. There's no retrieval of past action, no evaluation, no self-assignment of responsibility. Just, the big creature seems unhappy. I should be alert. At 6:47 in the morning, while you're staring at a broken mug, your cat's brain is doing exactly what it evolved to do: reading the present moment, not reviewing the past, not anticipating judgment, just being. And you thought he was ignoring you. Researchers call this episodic memory limitation. Cats possess working memory and procedural memory, but the autobiographical timeline humans use to connect actions to consequences appears absent, or at most, severely limited. And here's where evolution enters the story. The cat that sits in your kitchen descends directly from Felis libica, the African wildcat, a solitary predator that still roams the savannas and deserts of North Africa and the Middle East today. Researchers from the University of Oxford, the Smithsonian Institution, and the Max Planck Institute published a landmark paleogenetic study in Nature, Ecology, and Evolution that traced the domestic cat's origin to approximately 10,000 years ago in the Fertile Crescent. Unlike dogs, who were selectively bred for cooperation and obedience, cats essentially domesticated themselves, drawn to human grain stores where rodents gathered. And Felis libica had a specific survival problem that shaped its entire psychology. It was a solitary hunter. It didn't live in packs. It didn't have alpha structures. It didn't need to negotiate social hierarchies or remember who wronged whom yesterday. For a pack animal like a wolf, social memory matters. Remembering that you stole food from the alpha could save your life tomorrow. Guilt or proto-guilt serves a social function. It maintains group cohesion. But the wildcat didn't need cohesion. It needed independence. It needed to hunt alone, act alone, survive alone. Developing a complex system of self-evaluation and past action analysis would have been metabolically expensive and evolutionarily useless. Archaeological evidence from Cyprus, dated to approximately 9,500 years ago, shows one of the earliest known human cat burials. But even after 10 millennia of living with humans, cats remain what scientists call semi-domesticated, genetically almost identical to their wild ancestor, with only 13 genes significantly altered by natural selection. Your modern cat still carries every line of this genetic code. When he looks at you without remorse, he isn't being defiant. He's being exactly what 10,000 years of evolution designed, a present-focused, self-sufficient, independent operator. And this leads us to a fascinating paradox. Here's something almost no one stops to think about. You might assume your cat's lack of guilt means he doesn't care about you, that his emotional flatness after the mug shatters reveals indifference, maybe even coldness. In fact, science shows something completely different. Dr. Kristen Vitale, a researcher at Oregon State University, published a study in Current Biology demonstrating that cats form attachment bonds with their owners similar to those seen in dogs and human infants. Approximately 65% of cats tested showed secure attachment, meaning they used their owner as a source of safety and comfort. Your cat is attached to you. He trusts you. He may even love you in whatever way a feline brain can love, but he doesn't feel guilty toward you. And that's the paradox. Guilt in humans often damages relationships. It creates avoidance. It breeds resentment. It generates cycles of shame and defensiveness that fracture bonds over years. Your cat sidesteps this entirely. He cannot hold on to yesterday's mistake. He cannot build a narrative of wrongdoing. Every interaction with you begins fresh, unclouded by accumulated grievances, untainted by remembered failures. This means that when your cat approaches you after the broken mug, he isn't acting like nothing happened. For him, neurologically, nothing is happening anymore. The moment passed, the feeling dissolved. What remains is now. He isn't lacking emotion, he's lacking narrative. And here's the deeper implication. Every time your cat rubs against your leg, every time he chooses to sleep beside you, every time he slow blinks in your direction, he's doing it without obligation, without guilt, without the weight of debt. He doesn't owe you affection. He gives it. Your cat doesn't love you because he feels he should. He loves you because in this moment, he wants to. There's one last thing you need to know, and this could literally change how you respond or save their life. Remember what I said at the beginning about a behavioral shift that can reveal a neurological condition? Here it is. If your cat has always been emotionally steady, present-focused, unbothered by past events, consistent in his responses, that's biology working exactly as it should. But if your cat, who was always calm, suddenly starts showing signs of guilt-like behavior, hiding after normal activities, acting confused about things he's done routinely, appearing disoriented or withdrawn, pay attention. Veterinarians at the Cornell Feline Health Center and researchers studying feline cognitive dysfunction syndrome document that sudden behavioral changes in older cats, especially confusion, disorientation, altered interactions, and changes in the sleep-wake cycle, can be early indicators of cognitive decline or neurological disease. The mechanism is direct. When the brain begins to deteriorate, the present moment processing that defines feline cognition starts to fragment. Cats may appear guilty or confused, not because they've developed new emotions, but because their neurological baseline is shifting. The accompanying signs: excessive vocalization, especially at night, forgetting learned behaviors, staring at walls, and changes in litter box habits. Behavior is the only language they have. The owners who catch these shifts early are almost always the ones who knew what normal looked like. So next time you're walking barefoot across the cold kitchen tile, when you feel something wet beneath your feet, when you find the shattered mug on the floor, and when your cat sits 3 feet away, watching you, grooming his paw without a trace of shame, remember what's really happening. It's not defiance. It's a brain that evolved across 10,000 years to survive alone, to hunt alone, to exist in the eternal present. It's a limbic system generating feeling without a prefrontal cortex to assign blame. It's a predator's mind that was never designed to apologize, because apology requires memory it doesn't possess. Your cat doesn't feel guilty because he's free. Free from the weight of yesterday, free from the chains of narrative, free from the exhausting human burden of carrying every mistake into every future moment. At 6:47 in the morning, your cat isn't ignoring you. He's offering you something most humans never achieve: the pure experience of now. And that's what we do here at The Mind Behind the Paws. We decode what your pet can't say, one behavior at a time. If this video changed how you see your cat, subscribe. Tell me in the comments, what's the moment you realized your cat experiences the world completely differently than you? I read everyone. And next week, we're going to explore the psychology of the cat that destroys everything and sleeps. And what science discovered about feline peace is more unsettling than you'd expect.